Welcome to GEN-X-PLORATION. We're on episode 46, getting close to the 5-0.
Oh my God. I'm a little over 5-0, so it's fine. Maybe someday it'll surpass
I'm
me.
close to 5-0 myself,
Yeah.
so yeah. So we were talking after before this. I guess it couldn't be after because we just started, but
No, it would definitely be before.
so yeah,
Definitely.
we were talking about, our allergies, seasonal stuff going on. So first and foremost, want to apologize if we cough, hack, look like Rudolph, So we're doing the best we can. We wanted to show up for you today, Thursday.
Yeah, go Claritin. Hooray.
Yes. So, so today we thought we would talk about relationships. Is it just another day in a ball and chain, or is it giving you purpose? Is it putting air underneath your wings? Relationships are supposed to complement. It's supposed to be a partnership. It's supposed to elevate you. But quite oftentimes we get in resentment. We compare of who's doing what, when, and how they're not doing it, how we want it to be. So I'm not in a relationship right now, but I was married for 16 and a half years and in, a relationship for 20. And I very, very much went down the ball and chain with the resentment and the anger and the frustration. And I think a lot of people are in that boat. And just because I'm not in a relationship now doesn't mean I can't speak about our past. Remember, our past gives us leverage to the future and to be present in our present space. So,
sure.
Yeah, so we're going to leverage that knowledge, my friends. Leverage that knowledge.
Yeah, my past kind of did the same thing. I mean, I wasn't mature in my first marriage, and I didn't put in the effort that I needed to at all, and completely ruined it. And my second one, I was an idiot, and I married the wrong person, and I tried to force the issue, and that became kind of ball and chainish. But just like you said, our past helps us leverage the future so that we can learn something from that. And the reason that I brought the topic to you today is because it seemed like everybody that was walking into my office for the last week. I mean, I deal a lot in relationships anyway. I mean, I'm a counselor.
Right.
But it was just the whole theme of familiarity breeds contempt.
Right.
It's like nobody is appreciating what they have around them. And I'm guilty of that too.
Right.
I had a relationship recently where I did not value it. Even as a clinician, we could fall into that trap.
Right.
And it's some of the elements that we have around it that I want to talk about. Like, are you concentrating too much on your work, too much on your finances, worrying about family? Are you not giving the energy that you need to the relationship? Because you do have to. They say relationships are work. I like to make it that relationships are effort, because work is kind of a cuss word.
Well,
relationships take effort.
It does. And it's self-responsibility, my friends. We have trauma, we have hurt. And if we bury our head in the sand and we ignore and we project our pain, it's going to invoke a response in somebody else because they might have the same trauma or something that you're activating in them, which compiles and builds, and it just, you're in that moment and you're like, oh my God, I know what they're going to say. I'm going to say this. You're not in the conversation. You're already on the defensive, being reactive. And it, my friends, that gets you nowhere fast. And I'm guilty of it, very much guilty of it. And I think that is maturity. I can think, I think that no matter how old you are, we can be immature in how we navigate our relationships.
Amen. Yes. No matter how old we are, we can be immature. That is so right.
Yeah. Because age is a number, but you know what? When our 15-year-old, 20-year-old self gets activated, we project. And there's nothing wrong with the projection as long as you know that there's awareness. I'm not saying project on others, but when you get that now I know when it's a projection. I get instantly activated, and then I kind of retreat back and go, why am I go through that 7 layers of why, of like, why am I getting so activated? Where is this coming from? When did I feel
Hmm.
this way previously? Because that usually will give you breadcrumbs of why the hell you're acting the way you are now. Because your child self, 20-year-old self, just needs a little nurturing, my friends. It needs a little love. And you're the best person to give
Hmm.
that to your 20
Yep.
year old self, your 16-year-old self, even your 40 years. I mean, it doesn't have to be, your child self. Anything in your
Hmm.
past you can nurture.
Good.
So, um, just really, I just really want people to ask themselves, just sit down, like, remember when like you're in a conversation with your spouse or whatever, and you get that like, oh my freaking god moment. Usually
Uh-huh.
everybody goes through that, and I don't say everybody quite
Everybody does.
often, but that, I mean, when you get to that boiling point,
Hmm.
ask yourself, where is this coming from? Because quite often it's not the other person. So having the awareness to accept that you are hurt in some shape or fashion from your past, and that it's kind of bubbling up in your present, which can take shape in your
Oh.
future if you let it, you know?
Hmm.
Just to really ask yourself, and then, put the cherry on top of that 7-layer why of how or what can I do
Hmm.
different? Get in action. The how and why is action, my friends. That's the cherry.
Action. And
Break
action.
that cherry.
Ah. So you and I are on opposite sides of the United States. I don't know what it's like over there, the blooming, but
Oh my
oh
god.
my God. It is just one hell of like a pollen storm here.
Oh, I know. It was
So
like a freaking like um pollen gremlin got watered over midnight and it just blew up everywhere. Like
mhm. Okay. That's a that's a good way to put that. I like that. A pollen gremlin.
Yep,
I
they were.
saw a meme the other day where somebody fell a tree in Tennessee, and the
Yeah.
amount of pollen that came off of it, it looked like a mustard cloud.
My
It was
car,
scary.
yeah, my car looked yellow and green. Yellow
Hold on
and
my
green.
calls. Hold on my calls.
I know, I know. I usually turn that
What
down.
color is your car? It's not yellow or green, I take it?
No, it's like a rustic orange, but it had this like
Okay.
yellowish green. It was completely covered. Like you can even see through the window because there was so much pollen. Like the trees had a
Wow.
whole bunch of gremlins after midnight having a party. And
It wasn't that wasn't water, it was Jack Daniels. I mean, they went
yeah,
nuts.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
raving with
So I
the
get
with
it.
the liquids, and they just blew up
Yep.
everywhere. So
God. So we're trying to muddle through, I guess is what we're saying. Both of
yeah,
us are when we before we started the show and we were talking,
yeah,
I was hacking, you were blowing your nose and we're
yeah.
trying to
So give us some
on
grace,
cue. We're
my
trying to
friend.
just muddle through.
Give us some
Yeah.
grace.
Yeah. Little grace, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, how we started out, is just, purpose or contempt,
Mhm.
and really allowing yourself to be in a space of not anchoring to your emotions, because your emotions is just your ego trying to keep you safe.
Mm.
And I think quite often a lot of people, and me included, we make things mean a lot of different things based on our own perspective and our own
Mhm.
pain and our own hurt. And if we can disassociate that, not our emotional response is always truth, it's just pain, meaning you got
Mhm.
hurt and whatever. It's not your truth, it's just your emotional response. And that's okay.
Yeah,
It
the
gives
separation of it
you
is key.
data,
Yes.
new data, and that's okay. That's what
Mhm.
acceptance and awareness is. You can accept that you can get emotional, but that doesn't give you cope and blodge. What is that word? I
Carte blanche.
Yeah.
That one.
We are doing
Ladies
good,
and
my
gentlemen,
friends.
the 17th Kinseyism of the year.
I know, but that
Ah,
doesn't give you a license to really, to act out on that. So just giving yourself that space, I like to tell people, do like the five finger pause. Like, count your fingers like to 5 before you react, before you project, before you become that, that grumpy gremlin and spew over everybody.
yeah. So you want the fingers to go out. You don't want it to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No,
You
they
want
go
it to be
out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go.
Yes.
And breathe and breathe.
Yes. Because quite
Mm-hmm.
often when you get that surge of oxygen, it really activates that parasympathetic system, that rest and digest system. Instead of that
Mm-hmm.
sympathetic, that stress, fight or flight, type of response where everything
Mm-hmm.
constricts. I mean, if you notice yourself getting all tense, all rigid, allow yourself some grace and just do the five finger, kind of pause and allow yourself to breathe, and then become aware of where you are, come aware of where it's coming from. And you might not know right away, but just acknowledge that there's something going on that you don't know. Because quite often we get in our logical mind and we have to figure out why, and
Yes.
sometimes we don't need to know why. Sometimes it could be
Mm-hmm.
generational traumas that have nothing to do with you. It could be just something that activated your nervous system. A lot of things get stored in your nervous system, and you don't have to know why it is happening. You just
That
need
is
to.
true, and you've discussed that before, and I love that. But at the same time, I have found, like, when you're saying what you're saying, I'm relating it to situations that I've had in my past,
Right.
and it definitely, and I mean definitely, goes back to familiarity breeds contempt, because I was too comfortable with the person. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
they would give me more grace than they should have. I should have been doing the work on my side rather than them,
Mm-hmm.
and you end up regretting it. So if you could take that time, just like you said, take the 5 seconds, just, where is this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself where it's coming from instead of reacting,
Yep. And I mean,
because
and if
reacting is not an
you,
answer.
yeah, and if you can't take the moment without reacting, give yourself a separation pause, meaning allow
Mm-hmm.
yourself to, this is setting a boundary. Like, I need to go for a walk. I need to breathe. I need to relax. And then,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the important part. Make an appointment, my friends. Make an appointment to come back to it.
She's serious when she's chewing the microphone.
I know.
You know it.
Because I see so many people. I'm going for a walk, and then it goes nowhere. This happened in my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I just I need to go for a drive. And then the mother effer would never come back, and we've never had the conversation. That breeded more contempt. And this is not me. I'm just really kind
Nope.
of pressing a point how I felt at the time. I'm not angry now, but
Mm-hmm.
that's
I know.
that's how you feel in the moment. You know,
Right.
and so
Mm-hmm.
if you're using it as just avoidance in anything is a cardinal way of not getting better. I mean, with PTSD, everything, avoidance makes it worse because you don't take
Yes.
accountability and self responsibility to own your shit. Okay.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. You are so right on that. The avoidance, and that's a decision, by the way, because you're thinking, I'm not going to make a decision on this.
It's a
Well,
decision.
not doing anything
It's a
is also a
decision.
decision. Also a decision. You're going to get me coughing. Stop.
I know. Woo!
We're holding it together.
We are, we
Grace.
are, we
I'm
are.
giving you grace. You're giving me grace. That's
Yeah,
how
we'll
we're
do
going here.
grace. Grace,
The
grace,
Grace
grace.
brothers and sisters.
We
Okay.
give each other
Enough.
grace.
I'm giving your phone grace. I'm like, don't you have a mute on that thing?
I know. I don't understand why. I did put, okay, I'm going to put it on airplane
iPhone
mode.
people.
Oh,
Okay.
stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. All right, settings, airplane. Sometimes what my phone will, I'll put it in focus mode because that's an option. And after one of the last updates, the focus mode means nothing. It's just a button I push and everything comes through. So I don't know what's going on. I
Focus
haven't really
mode.
figured it out, but
Okay.
focus.
Maybe I need to get a new phone. I don't have that.
Hey,
I don't have that fancy shit like you do. That's good.
hey, hey.
You know what I'm noticing about your lovely face today?
What?
Is that right under here it matches your shirt.
It does. I'm Rudy. I'm
Yeah,
Rudy.
it's like you're all red from hitting the Kleenex. So you
I
can't get away from the Kleenex, and I can't stop coughing.
I know. It's funny because like I literally like caked shea butter all around my nose because it was so dry, and it's still dry and red. And I do that twice a day the last 2 days because it's just non-stop. But the thing is
Do you
I'm
buy
grateful.
it because it's your namesake?
Yes, I like shea butter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet you do like shea butter. Yes.
So I mean,
Hmm.
the getting back to contempt, I mean, contempt is a big word and it can deteriorate a lot of things in your personal space. Uh, and it's a choice. It's a decision. So if you allow yourself to take things for granted, it's a choice. If you get angry,
It is.
it's a choice. I'm not saying not to get angry. I'm saying have self-awareness when you get angry to set up boundaries and take
Mhm.
self-responsibility in your actions to come back to it.
Mhm.
Because if you always take the out of avoidance, it's just going to cause a lack of trust because your word means nothing.
Yeah, that is correct. You are responsible for that that anger and to think beforehand. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I'll use the R word, react, because
Mm-hmm.
reactions generally are sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
I got that right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was pulling a Kinsey there for a second. I'm like, which one is it? And how do I say it? But sometimes we react for different reasons. I don't want to make excuses for myself or anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that when I was having relationship issues about a year ago,
Right.
my health was not good. My health was much, much worse than it is now. I was so bad. And I wasn't getting the sleep that I needed. I wasn't eating right. My sugars were out of balance, carry the four. I mean, I had other problems. It was unbelievable.
Right.
And it made it to where I could not function normally. I wasn't doing my job well. I wasn't doing my relationship well.
Right.
I wasn't fathering well. So I had to get myself right in other areas in order to give myself the ability to do things in
Right.
these areas.
Right.
And now I can see the difference and totally see the light and go like, oh, okay, yeah, I see totally what I did wrong there. So,
Right.
I
The
mean,
thing
I'm
is,
better now.
well, Gen Xers, we're in the age where, I mean, health things are showing up. You know, we're in our 40s and 50s, and we
Hmm.
come from a generation where we just get stuff done. We don't complain, and then we make it out to be something, this inner dialogue of that there's something wrong with us if something's not acting the same way or we're not showing up the same way.
Right. Yeah,
And
it's something wrong with us. Yep.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that is normal. That's natural to have those feelings. I'm not dismissing those. The important thing is to get yourself in that self-awareness mode and accept that you are feeling, you're detached from those emotional things. You're in observance, be the sky, like I like to say, and just really see
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. I mean, after my car accident, I very much got into the primal, I don't want to be a burden. Nobody's going to love me this way. I'm broken,
Oof.
you
Yeah.
know. And I think a lot of
Mm.
people, whether it be diabetes, whether it be heart disease, whether it be, we might have family precedents of our parents and whatever. Um,
Mhm.
and we might feed into that, but just know that you are not your father, your mother, your grandmother. You have a decision to make. I mean, in our human existence, our environment cultivates a lot of our illness. Yes, a lot of our parents and grandparents, they did
Yes.
not have the knowledge that we do today. So if you just do the passive aggressive way of thinking, like, oh, my mother was like this, my grandma was like this, I'm just going to be this way. And then you get into that dialogue in your head that you're a piece of crap and whatever, whatever. I'm just going through the lines of what usually takes place in people's minds.
Mhm.
Um, you have a choice. Just because you get a diagnosis, just because something unexpected happens in your life, does not mean you're defined by your diagnosis or circumstance. If I prescribed to that after my car accident, I would not be here.
Mhm. You said something earlier about our environment, how it feeds into something. Can you say that again? I was trying to get it written down. Um,
Our
but you're
environment, how we cultivate our environment, really can. I don't know how I said it because I'm a little foggy right now, but
damn.
excuse me, I kind
We'll
of
have
get.
to go back and watch our own show.
I know. But I mean, our environment really presses upon what comes to fruition in our life. So
Mhm.
if you are focused on depleting emotions, if you're focused on the negative aspect of
Mhm.
a diagnosis or what is going on, what you believe is what's going to show up. So if you believe that you're going to have a heart attack, you're going to have this, you're going to do this, it's going to happen
Mhm.
because you believe it. You're creating
Mhm.
that environment.
Oh
You're
god,
not,
you couldn't be more right. I'll
yeah.
have clients that were diagnosed with ADHD 25 years ago and they're still convinced they have ADHD. I'm like,
Mm,
we might need to discuss this and visit it. You did get diagnosed with that from somebody, and you don't know how careless that could have been. It could have been a super careless diagnosis. You've worked in the medical field long enough. I've been around it long enough. Sometimes you get people that just diagnose people willy nilly. That is a moniker that they're going to hold on to.
mhm.
And that is not cool. People should take diagnoses very seriously
Yeah, you are
when they're
not
doing
defined by your diagnosis. I tell that
it.
people
No.
to that people all the time. A lot of people, I mean, I get it because you want a diagnosis. With my ex-husband, he had a lot of neuro things, and we just wanted a diagnosis because we wanted to make sense of it. We can say, oh, he's this
Hmm.
way because of whatever. And that really takes your power away. It does give you certainty in what's going on, but it does take your power away because you believe that your life is going to
Hmm.
fall in a specific way. And your mind, your belief is so powerful that it changes your outcome. Because my doctors told me I would probably not have my arm. I wouldn't walk normal again. I wouldn't do anything really productive again. And I refused to believe it. I filled
Hmm.
myself with my environment with positivity, with gratitude,
Hmm.
with frequency healing. All the woo woo shit that people think is woo woo, I filled it
Yeah.
in. Like,
Yeah.
And it worked because I believed it, because everything that I prescribed to before my accident was not serving me in that situation. It just
Correct.
made me feel like crap, that I was worthless, I was a burden, and that I was broken and nobody would ever want me and I'm a failure. I did something to deserve this. I got my Catholic guilt in there.
Mix a little Mix a little Gen X, a little Catholic guilt, a little negativity, something a doctor says, and Viola. Look at you
There you
got.
go. Woohoo.
Yeah. I know
Voila.
it's
The
voila,
shit
but
stew is born.
it says Viola to me when I look at it. It's like hors d'oeuvres, the things you get before a
Yeah.
meal.
Yep.
Yeah. It's hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so your environment, I mean, excuse me. There was a book by it was an Asian doctor. I can't remember what country, but he did this whole thing about gratitude and water. And if you looked at like a glass of water and you gave energy of gratitude, like you did your gratitude um, type of exercises, and you put that energy into the water, it would
Hmm.
form these beautiful, beautiful crystals. And then if you did the put the same a different energy, a negative energy, where it would just be chaos, like it looked like crap under the microscope. And if you can take that, your body is 70-80% water, what you fill your brain with is how your body is going to function. And that's kind of how I looked at it when I read that book. I can't think of the name of it right now, but if you look under gratitude and water crystal formation, it will come up. I can't remember the guy's name, but
Maybe on Amazon.
yeah, it's on Amazon. Let me look it up.
Okay.
Talk a minute. I'll look it up.
I was just gonna say I was gonna do that too.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a race now.
I know. Well, you can talk because this will be boring having people watch us.
Yeah, it probably will be. And we're gonna wrap up here in a couple of minutes, but what we were talking about today was um, I started basically with familiarity breeds contempt. And is your relationship a ball and chain, or are you making it something that you are grateful for? And we're trying to push you that way in looking at your relationships. Don't take them for granted. Actually evaluate them and see if they are what you want in your life. For instance, when we're in high school, we have 50 friends. And when we get to be a little bit older, that starts to wean down. And that's because we're older and wiser. But we also think, no, we just want to put X amount of work into Y amount of relationships instead of 2% into all of this one and this one and this one. We want to actually put effort into the relationships that we have in our lives. So that's why I have a handful of people in my life, and the people that are in my life are very dear to me.
Mhm.
And sometimes, if we're too familiar with that person, especially if we're having a relationship, an intimate relationship with somebody, we can think that we could get away with things and say things that we shouldn't be able to.
Right.
And we have to step back and manage ourselves before we say the things that we're going to say. Think about what you're going to say first. Did you find it?
I did. The
Look
Miracle,
at you go.
I know. The Miracle of Water by Emoto. Let me see if I can get it. Can you see it?
Hold on, I gotta change screens. Yes, I can.
Okay. But it's a really good book. They've done a lot of research on it. Um, our our bodies are powerful things, and when we nurture it, when we fill it with gratitude and love and appreciation, we can reap the
Hmm.
benefits of that. If we fill it with toxic worry, angst, all of these things, our body will break down. We'll get into that stress, sympathetic, fight or flight moment where our organs and everything will fail over time. But when we
Hmm.
focus on our breath, focus on the gratitude, The heart math techniques, which I do quite often, and somatically releasing the tension that
Hmm.
comes in us. I mean, if that requires you jumping on your bed and dancing to like 80s music or whatever makes your heart happy, do it.
Hmm.
Do it.
Yep.
I mean, nobody's in your bedroom, my friends. Be you. Be you.
Hmm.
Like, really
I get
embrace
it.
your quirkiness. So that after my
Hmm.
accident, when I just started being me and
Hmm.
embracing just my quirky self, because I am quirky, I
Hmm.
became a lot happier and my health improved so much. Because this angst of like, what are people going to think? I should be farther along. Um, how am I going to do this for 5 more years? What am I going to do? How can this be done? I want to be certain. How can this happen? Well, I'm trying to do everything right. The church tells me this. My family tells me this. What should I do? Anchor to who you are, your values, set your boundaries. And you know what?
Hmm.
When you like double down on who you are to grow, people will follow suit. Like I was so worried before my accident of what my parents thought and whatever, and my family. I love my parents, but I could give two shits what they think because at the end of the day, when I look in the mirror, I have to be happy of who I am. They have
Yes.
their own bag of shit to deal with.
Hmm.
I don't have to deal with their bag of shit.
Says it right on the outside. Ha! It's the bag of shit. It's the Irish one. Shiver me timbers. It's the bag of shit.
So when you get into that contempt, when you get into, that angst with yourself, really
Hmm.
look within yourself, become aware of yourself, be the sky, accept where you are, look at the breadcrumbs in your life from your past, and leverage those and grow. That's what we're encouraged
Yep.
because contempt will get you nowhere, my friends. It will just dig you
Yep.
in a hole.
That's right. And avoidance will do the same thing. So avoidance and contempt are just not things that we want to have. There
Yes,
we
yes.
go. We did it. We did it. And
Woo!
you didn't have to blow your nose one time. I only coughed 3 or 4 times.
I know, I know. So everybody, like, love, subscribe, do all that fun jazz, and we will see you next
Hmm.
week. Um,
Yes.
we love you guys, and we love doing this.
Yep.
Put your aha moments, put where you are, because
Yeah.
when put it in words, it does something in your brain. If you just like half-ass think about it when we're talking about something, you're gonna forget it right when you shut this off. So put in the
That's
comments
why
like
you have
where
to write
you're at.
it down. Yep.
Yep.
I agree. That's why you have to write things down. That's why journaling is important. That's
Yep.
why I write the letters that I do. That's why I journal like I do, so that I can actually get it into my brain in a different area because I want it to stay.
Correct. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Leverage that knowledge, my friends. Leverage, leverage,
Do
leverage.
it.
All right, we will see you next
Leverage.
week.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.